Chapter 5. Discothèque. When she finally reached Jedediah's cabin, Jenny turned on the emergency flashers mounted on the roof, and blue strobe lights flickered like a discotheque. More than a foot of fresh powder covered the ground, and snow was still falling. If the Tahoe got stuck way back here, deep in the woods, who was going to come looking for her? She frowned. No one, that's who. She put the headlights on bright and stared at the cabin for a few moments. It was a simple square design, with pine logs for walls chinked together with moss, and a chimney made of river stones and concrete. The front door stood ajar. She rooted through the center console for latex gloves. She had a feeling this was going to be gross. "Let's get this party started," she said. Sliding out of the driver's seat, Jenny sank into the snow almost to her knees. The meteorologists got it wrong again. They got it wrong so often, it was ridiculous. How did those hacks make their predictions? Tarot cards? As she walked behind the vehicle, she pushed a button on the key fob and marveled as the cargo hatch slowly raised. Sans hands. It was pure magic. Everything on Breck's Jeep required 2 hands and magic cuss words to operate. One of her biggest gripes was the windows. They were made from some kind of transparent plastic. Rusty zippers ran around them like a horseshoe. To open a window, one must unzip and fold. Zippers are for jackets, not vehicles, she told him on more than one occasion. Jenny popped the lid off a plastic bin in the back of the Tahoe and rooted around inside. She found a spare hard-shell ski jacket, men's, size large, with the Quandary County Sheriff's Office logo. An extra layer wouldn't hurt. She put it on over her down coat and zipped it to her chin. What else did Breck keep in here? Jumper cables, spare flashlight, boxes of 9mm and .44 caliber bullets, fingerprint kit, and a box of mystery berry Cliff Bars. He normally kept the bin in the back of his Jeep for emergencies, but when he left town, he told her to take it. Unwrapping one of the Cliff Bars, she grimaced and took a bite. Jenny hated these things. A hot dog from the gas station would have been better, but this would have to do. Exhaust fumes puffed against her shins. She could feel the heat through her jeans, and it was tempting to stand there a little longer. But there was work to do, so she swallowed the last bite and wadded the wrapper into a crinkly ball. She remembered seeing a bunch of old kerosene lanterns in Jedediah's cabin, but no light bulbs, no light switches, and no electricity. Finding a heavy-duty mag light in the bin, she grabbed it. Jenny left the engine idling, headlights blazing, and emergency lights strobing. Her shadow stretched out before her as she waded through the snow to the front door. She knocked, even though it was ajar, just in case. What if the 911 call had been a prank, and the cranky old coot wasn't in the mood for a midnight visit from the cops? Sheriff's office. She waited, listening. "Jedediah, it's Jenny O'Hara. Are you in there?" The snowflakes kept getting in her eyes. She wiped her face and knocked again. Nothing. No footsteps, no click of a gun hammer, no warning shout that she was trespassing. "Coming in." The hinges creaked as she pushed, and she shined the flashlight around the cabin as she stepped inside. The building was maybe 20 feet wide, and it was chock full of antique furniture and repurposed junk. A big burlap sack hung over the window. Curtain, perhaps? She didn't remember seeing it last time, but it had been months, and perhaps it was winter insulation. She had no idea what went through old Jed's mind. Pieces of granite and quartz sparkled on a card table. No chairs. Just an upside-down orange Home Depot bucket for seating. She trained the light on a ratty mattress where he slept. Then a long shelf lined with generic canned goods. Then a black sooty wood stove in the far corner. Something dripped in her hair. Was the roof leaking? Jenny shined the light straight up and saw half-frozen globs of blood dangling from the roof timbers, speckled with pieces of yellow corn. Wait, she wasn't looking at corn. Those were human teeth. Startled, she sidestepped and stumbled over a body, sprawled in the shadows. And when she shined her flashlight to see who it was, she saw a large man in blue overalls, and though she knew who it was, she couldn't tell by looking at him, because his entire face was MIA. "I don't think so," she said. Dashing back outside, Jenny put her hands on her knees and gulped in the cold air. The old guy must have moseyed over to the front door, took one last gander at the land of the living, put the shotgun beneath his chin, and plastered his features on the ceiling. The Tahoe's headlights were pointed right in her eyes. Squinting, she held her hand up to block the bright beams. Why would anyone kill themselves, she wondered. Sure, life could have its ups and downs, but there was always another sunrise every morning, another opportunity to begin again. One might think a placer miner working a cold stream in threadbare overalls, day after day, swishing his pan to find miniature golden flakes, was the very image of blind faith. Jenny made a mental note never to despair when she crossed into her golden years. Digging the key fob out of her pocket, she pointed it at the Tahoe and pushed the button to reopen the cargo hatch. She walked quickly to the rear and leaned inside to root through the plastic bin again. Didn't she see a body bag in here? No, just an emergency blanket, one of those reflective foil kinds that people take hiking but never use. When was the last time she'd been camping? Years. She did like mountain biking, but that was the extent of her backcountry exploits, which was ironic and maybe even a little sad, given that she lived in a mountain ski town, and everyone either hit the slopes, hiked, rock climbed, or went backpacking, or panned for gold. Something made the hair on the back of her neck tingle. Aiming her flashlight at the dark forest, Jenny fully expected to see two shining eyes staring at her. All the bears were hibernating in their dens, but the scent of blood might as well be catnip to a mountain lion, and they could smell it a mile away. She shined the light around the clearing, studying the snow. If a wild animal was prowling around the area, it would leave paw prints, but she didn't see any. However, the snow was still falling, and her own tire tracks were almost gone. If a cougar had passed this way even an hour ago, the evidence was long gone. Holding her breath, she listened. But besides the hum of the Tahoe's idling engine, the only sound was the creek somewhere in the darkness, gurgling as it flowed beneath the ice. But Jenny was being watched. She could feel it. "I know you're out there, kitty cat,"